In this segment of It's Scary to Remarry, I'm going to discuss who have more dating options, men or women. What's up, Brave Hearts community? This is Sean Heineman here with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. And as I done the research on this topic, I looked up Mitchell Brown, a psychologist at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and he says this: before giving an answer, factor age, level of education, or are you willing to settle? By default, most would say women that they have more options when it comes to dating. But when you start to break down the specifics, you can really see who has an advantage. Sometimes it can be men, sometimes it can be women. It just depends. And then sometimes when you ask this question, who have more dating options, men or women, are you talking about just having casual sex, or are you talking about someone that you want to have a long-term relationship with? And remember, men control who they marry and women control who they sleep with. In terms of sexual market value, SMV, you might have heard of this term before. It's kind of a little more popular nowadays, but it's been out for a while. Women have the advantage from 18 to 25. Most women can generally get the man they want from that age range, maybe even a little younger, maybe even 16, depending on if she's dating at that age. And I'm not saying any, crazy stuff. I'm just saying like just being a little younger. So let's not go there, and let's not leave any crazy comments on the bottom. So from 18 to 25, women generally can get the man that they want. Now, as time goes on and they get a little older, maybe some weight gain, maybe age, maybe children, her sexual market value have a tendency to dive a little bit. And this isn't saying that as a woman you lose your worth. I'm just saying in general that the way culture has everything set up, the way, if you're a younger woman, of course you're going to attract more men just because you're younger. Now, as men, on the other hand, with men, as men get older, men tend to get better with age, and they have a tendency to make more money over time, and they become a little more attractive as men get older. And men can be choosy as they mature because they don't have a biological time clock when it comes to women and kids. Men have kids, in their 40s, shoot, some guys even 50s. Even for me, when my wife and we had back-to-back kids, and I was in my 40s. So, men, we have kids at any time. Women, a lot of times they get older. The clock is ticking, especially if you want children. Now, some women are corporate America women. They don't have time for kids, and they don't want any kids, and that's good. I mean, that's up to you. There's no knock on that if you don't want any kids because you're more career driven. That's a decision that you chose to make. Now, let's get into specifics about this whole who have more dating options, men or women. Education and earnings is important to a woman, so women tend to marry up. Now, if they are in this dating scene, they want, maybe a woman, she wants a man that has a degree. Maybe she wants a man who has a master's degree. It just depends. So the air gets thinner depending on the more things that you want. And if she wants a man who makes six figures, you might go from a pool of 50 men down to maybe 10. So it just varies on what you are looking for. Again, her pickings are slim, and women have more degrees than men, especially in the black community. And if a man has a degree, he has a much larger pool of women to date because women have more degrees than men. So that's the difference between men and women and what they're looking for. So a man can have a bigger pool if he desires to be with a woman who has a degree. And then when it comes to earnings, women tend not to want a man who earns less, so her pickings are slim. And men are less likely to date women who make more. Sometimes men are intimidated by women who make more money. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about what does that mean when a man says he's intimidated by a woman. And I told her basically it's how you carry yourself. If you are a confident woman and you won't settle for less, and a man has to put in work in order to be with you and spend some quality time with you, that can come across as intimidating because you don't need him per se. It's more of I value myself, and if you choose to be with me, you're going to work for me. So that's what that means as far as a woman being when a man says, you know, she's intimidating. According to Pew Research Center, men are far more likely than women on the dating market. Check out these statistics. 61% of single men say they are currently looking for a relationship or a date compared to 38% of single women. So that percentage is pretty big. So there's a bunch of men that's out here looking to date or possibly even casual sex. So when it comes to social media and people sliding in the DMs, a lot of times it's just men trying to shoot their shot a lot of times. And I know some women are turned off by that. And then there's even a wave nowadays where women are even starting to shoot their shot and they starting to slide in the DMs. As far as the percentage of women who do that, I don't know. But I can say as far as like tips that I've learned over time with the DMs and stuff like that when I met my wife on social media, because I slid in her DMs, it's more about just being authentic. It's more about being yourself. You don't have to be so aggressive. Like you got guys out here sending penis pics. This is the first pic you sending her. It's a penis pic. It's like, how do you expect to get a quality woman if that's the first thing you posting in her DMs? Like, is she just supposed to automatically fly out and come and give you sex because you showed her your penis in a direct message? I mean, you have to be tactful. Especially if you're looking for a woman of substance, if you're looking for a woman to marry, you got to come across as authentic, because I'm sure women get a lot of DMs. And if you're saying the same stuff that every other guy is saying, she's just going to overlook you too. If you just hitting her like, hey, beautiful, or, just complimenting her physically, she might push you to the side. She might not pay attention to those DMs. So be more authentic. And it could just start off with a regular conversation. You don't have to try to score on the first night. Did I just say score like old school, like high schoolers? We scored. Anyway, you don't have to try to have sex with her on the first date. Like, get to know her, be authentic, and she might just give you a chance. And sometimes as men, or even vice versa, let's just say either men or women, you might not have all of the qualities that this person is looking for, but what are your core values? What are you looking for in that person? I can even say when my wife and I, when we first met, I didn't fit everything that culture said I should have, but I know I'm the best man for her, and I know how much value I bring to our family. Like, I didn't have the degree, I didn't have the 6 figures, I'm not 6'3", all those things that people deem quote unquote attractive, but I knew who I was as a man, and I knew my value as a man and what I can bring to the table as far as a relationship, and how I worked on myself as a man before I even got into another relationship. So hopefully this was able to help you. I know I usually give a lot of statistics and stuff like that, but I like to back up what I'm talking about. If you are watching this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and share. If you are listening to this via podcast, make sure you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I would love to hear from you. Even if it's a 1-star rating, tell me where I suck. If it's a 5-star rating, let me know how amazing I am. This is Sean Heineman at It's Scary to Be Married. Take care, people.